Hey ladies, welcome back to the Attract Your Right Guy online retreat, where you discover the hidden keys on how to not only attract an available and high quality man, but also how to keep him. And today is, of course, no exception. I have an amazing expert here today, which is Lisa Shield. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Antia. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here today because we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is how to stay in your heart when the moments get tough, when they're charged and you just want to explode and you want to emasculate the man. So really excited for that, Lisa. And before we do that, I just want to go, of course, over who Lisa is. For those of you who live behind the moon and don't know and haven't seen her on the Millionaire Matchmaker or anywhere else. So Lisa is a love, dating, and heart-opening ninja in Los Angeles with 18 years of experience. She has a master's degree in spiritual psychology and is certified life and relationship coach. She has been a featured expert in the Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, LA Times, and Cosmopolitan. She was also a guest on ABC News and, like I just mentioned, the Millionaire Matchmaker. Last year, 12 of Lisa's LA clients were married, and she was asked to officiate 4 of those weddings. She and her husband Benjamin are passionately in love. After 18 years, they live in LA with their now 3 dogs, Milo, Jax, and Oliver. And there are some cute little pooches, I'm telling you.
Right? What a way to spend the pandemic.
Oh, they're so sweet. Like talking about like being in your heart. Just like look at that. Look at the dogs and you're like, no problem, you know? Oh.
I know they have brought so much joy. Since we got them together, my husband calls them the twins. They're night and day. One's the Bernese Mountain Dog and one's the Shar-Pei. So they couldn't be more different, but they love they chew on each other. We get to watch them chew on each other all day long.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
But one thing you don't want to do is chew on your dates.
Yes, I just wanted to say,
or chew your dates out, right? You don't want to chew your dates out like one of my clients did.
Oh, thanks.
Was that a good transition?
Yeah, that's a great segue because that's what we want to really talk about, right? So many single women or women who start the dating process are starting to sabotage and manipulate their own relationships because when things get charged or there is a misunderstanding or it gets a little tough or she gets anxious, she starts to go into like an attack almost, right? Like either passive aggressive or direct or even emasculates the man. So let's talk about that today, Lisa. Like what can a woman first of all understand about herself? Because I believe part of it is she doesn't even understand all the parts inside of herself that make her react this way.
Right. So one of the things, Antia, that you and I both know women do is that we have so many expectations, right? Going into relationships and expectations of men. And then all of this is reinforced by everything that we're reading or hearing out in the dating world, that a real man does this and a real man should do that. And we have those long lists of all the shoulds, right? And that's really where we get ourselves into trouble because women are as different as night and day. What our expectations might be different from woman to woman, and no man can possibly read your mind, right? He can't know. And what often gets triggered in us is when we have these lists of expectations and a man doesn't meet one of them, then all bets are off, right? I mean, I've been there. I cannot tell a lie. I've done this, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I drove from San Francisco to LA because I was upset there was a misunderstanding Brody and I had when we were dating 6 months. And I just said at night, take me out. And I said, well, I'm in LA. And he was like not happy. Yeah, I can tell you. I'm like, okay, gotta find a different way how to navigate when I'm angry. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Which is why.
Yeah, and then what happens is a lot of times we become passive aggressive. We feel, in the instance of this one client that we mentioned a little bit earlier, this woman was dating a terrific guy and he had been lovely to her. He'd bought her beautiful gifts. It was really in her 50 plus years of life on this planet. She told me it was the best relationship she'd had. And she made plans. She didn't know how to ask for what she wanted. And so she made plans for her birthday pre-COVID with her girlfriends to go out. And then she, on the phone, told this man, oh, my girlfriends are taking me out for my birthday. And what she wanted him to do was say, well, no, I want to take you out for your birthday. And he didn't. And that became an epic saga that brought, for a time before she talked to me, brought down that relationship, just that one event. And the way she handled it, she completely sabotaged a 7-month relationship with the best guy she'd ever dated.
Yeah. And so, see, for one, it's like she doesn't want to be a burden. So she doesn't want to ask for anything, right? Or she's used to being sort of self-sufficient, which means she just makes as many assumptions by herself as she possibly can, right? which is usually, right? That's why all the communication, issues start arising, is because we just make so many assumptions that he knows that of course you need to take her out, and he knows his personality. So of course he would just say, when she already says she's meeting with her girlfriends, that, I mean, it takes a certain kind of personality too, to be like, no, versus just saying, okay, you're going out with your girlfriends, we'll do something another day, right? But this assumption that no, he of course has to say, no, you can't go out with your girlfriends. But even that's also a question of personality too.
Mm-hmm. And also, she may have been building up resentment all along, because not that he wasn't being a great guy or a good boyfriend, but because she had expectations that weren't getting met, because she didn't know how to ask, right? So we have to assume that it wasn't even just that one incident, that there were other things even prior to that that led up to this. And here's the thing: she didn't get upset in the way that some women would have gotten angry or caused a scene. She very calmly, said, I got gifts, or I got, something from everybody, from all my friends, but not from the one person who mattered most to me. And so it was a very passive aggressive way of saying, you disappointed me. And this lovely man, who might not be perfect and may not have been the future guardian of her soul, but who clearly for 7 months had been dating her and, showing up in the best way he knew how, he felt made wrong. And, she didn't contact him after that. And she felt, again, she had an expectation that he should, contact her, and he didn't. He just didn't call.
Which is also this passive aggressive, right? It's like this, okay, so I'm just going to make sort of a passive aggressive comment. And then of course I'm not going to reach out, so I can respond, because when we're responding, we're in power.
Right.
It feels more powerful, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Than reaching out.
Yeah. So she didn't reach out to him. And every once in a while, for business reasons, because they had business in common, he might ask her a question or whatever. Now, you and I both know he was doing that because he was testing the water. He knew that she was hostile or angry or upset, right? Even if she had been subtle and passive aggressive about it. And he was looking for an opening from her that it was safe. And she didn't even know it.
Aw,
So
it's
she just kept answering his questions, business-like, keeping it all business. And this went on for 3 months until she contacted me.
ah. And the rest we're gonna leave for the end of the interview because now so you have to
Very good,
hear
Antia.
the
That was
rest.
great. I love that.
Right? Because like
Uh-huh.
I want to segue now into this whole idea of being in your heart, right? So
Yeah.
how could someone actually really respond in that moment? And you have so many great examples too. When I interviewed you last time, you told us how you met Benjamin, how he got totally lost and he called you and he was frantic and he missed this one weird, everybody who lives in Los Feliz knows exactly what intersection you're talking about. Um, but that you were actually staying in your heart. So let's talk a little bit about that. How can a woman stay in her heart? How did you do it? First of all, like how did you say, yeah, I'm here, I'm enjoying myself. Take your time. I trust, I believe in you.
So one of the things I know, Antia, is that it's not even the big things we say and do. It's the nuances. It's in those little moments that we almost decide if we want to see this person again or not. And people can feel when you care about their feelings. They can feel that, not when you're caretaking their feelings, but when you care about their feelings. And if you are, one of the biggest reasons we have so much conflict in relationships is when one person feels the need to pull away and protect their feelings, and they kind of just let go of the other person, right? They pull away. And so that's when we abandon the other person, we disconnect in that moment. And so I knew that real love is not just about me getting my needs met, but it's also making sure that whoever is in relationship with me is getting their needs met as well. And that whatever is happening in the context of this relationship is about two people being willing to both, give and receive, and that there's a synergy with that. So I started to pay attention in every moment to not just what I was feeling, but also asking myself what the person on the other side might be feeling
Mm.
in that moment.
And also what I'm hearing from you is sort of the compassion for the other person, right? Like, gosh, they went through all this traffic and they got lost. And then also the self-compassion, because he was saying that was the difference between caring and caretaking. Can you say a little bit more about like that distinction between a caretaking? Because we have a lot of caretakers who are watching this right now. So I think that would be really helpful for them.
Caretaking, very bad. Caring, very good. So, I'm just saying, we cannot be responsible for how another person is feeling, but we can care about how another person is feeling. So I'm not responsible for what you feel, but I can care about you and your feelings. I can't change it, but I can say, I'm sorry you feel that way, or be conscious of the impact of something I might have done on you.
Mm,
Give you the dignity, the space to feel whatever it is that comes up for you, Antia, but not disengage with you, not pull away just because you're feeling something that makes me, that I feel uncomfortable with. So
mhm.
it's being able to stay connected and not try to fix or change what the other person's feeling, but still stay with them and allow them to feel what they're feeling.
Yeah, and maybe for some women that are sort of like more merging, it may actually take pulling themselves out a little bit. So like for them, it may actually feel like distancing themselves a little bit if they're just completely merged, because if
Right.
they feel responsible and it's kind of like your happiness is my happiness, and you have this codependent dance going on, then um, for those people, it may feel like they're distancing themselves, right? But that actually may just, because what I feel like what you're talking about is really being in alignment, like you're being in alignment. You're not moving too much in, you're not moving too much out. It's just right.
Yeah. And it may feel, like you said, that you need to release and pull back and, let go of trying to control the other person's feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but just be able to be with this person's feelings and not take it personally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not take any of it personally or feel, because the truth is, I could say the same thing to 20 different people and get 20 different responses, right? So I'm not responsible for the response that people have to what I say, but it's just a question of being able to allow whatever comes up for them to come up. I mean, that's actually what makes great coaching. Really great coaches can be, honest and real and, say what they need to say and then sit back and give a client the space to experience whatever comes up without trying to direct it or feel responsible for it.
Yeah, totally. So that's also that interdependence too, right? Where we just go
Mhm.
like a little bit and then give the space again. What are some other ways how a woman can stay in her heart when she's on first dates, particularly if she's more on the masculine side? Maybe she's more mental, right? She's like read all the books and you know what I mean, all the how-tos, the last Cosmopolitan article, unless it was the one that Lisa wrote. Okay, like don't listen to that too much. What recommendations do you have for them, that you have like all those different voices in their head? Do this, do that. Your girlfriend said, like don't lean in too much. The other one says lean out more. Like, what do you recommend to those women to stay in their heart?
Well, one very simple thing that I have, and that everybody could do right now on this call, put your hand on your head. Just put your hand on your head, right? And press on your forehead and just say the words, say them aloud. Say, I love you. And then feel what that feels like, right? That's what it feels like when you're in your head. Now put your hand on your heart and feel, when you move your hand, Antia, to your heart and put your hand here, and then say again aloud, I love you. And feel the difference in the energy when you're coming, when your awareness. Feel how, when your awareness and your energy, when you bring that into your heart, just feel how different that feels. Even listen to the sound of your voice, where it's coming from in your throat, how much deeper and even more passionate that voice sounds when you say the words, I love you, from your heart. So it's a bit, it's more breathy, it's deeper, it's slower, right? You can feel the difference. And so that's what it feels like when you're in your head and when you're in your heart.
Mm.
So it's building that awareness just in your body of when you're speaking from your heart space and when you're speaking from your head space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it almost feels like right. I feel almost like
Mhm.
when you're in your head, it's sort of like upward moving. So I don't know what's going to happen with my thoughts and with my energy, but
Mhm.
here it feels just like more. It feels almost like safer too, which is
Mhm.
interesting. Just it feels like
Mhm.
I have more.
Yeah, because this is so up here, this is up here. This is way more grounded. It's centered,
Mhm.
right? The voice is centered. The
Mhm.
energy is centered more in your body,
Yeah.
right? It's more anchored. So it's really um, building that awareness, right? these are not tricks. Like, this is not a trick that I can just say, oh, if you say this, you're coming from your head. If you say this, you're coming from your heart. Now, how I do this with my clients, getting them out of their head and into their heart, is the work that I do with my clients, in my course, Antia, where I walk them through an entire process of how to become an emotionally naked woman who is in her heart instead of her head, right? And the goal is not to have a list of questions that you're, checking off when you're on that date with that guy. The goal is to be a woman who can be in her heart and bring a man into his heart when he's with her.
Mm-hmm.
That is what creates true emotionally naked connection. And that is how we attract what I call the guardian of your soul, your Benjamin in my. For anybody who doesn't know or wasn't listening to my bio, Benjamin's my husband, who I think is the bomb. So.
Yeah, of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk a little bit for a moment more what impact it has on a man's heart and
Mm-hmm.
on a man's emotions when a woman is more centered versus when she's in her, so that we kind of like understand a little bit more the impact of
Right.
right?
So many, many, many women are going on dates, and when there's no connection or when the guy doesn't call back or he ghosts or whatever happens, we all, I see this all the time, that they make up stories about why that happened, right? But what they rarely say is, did I bring that man into his heart on a date? What was I doing or saying, or how was I being? We attract what we want, not who, what we attract who we are, not what we want, right? Wayne Dyer. So, if you're not attracting the men that you want to attract, if these men are not coming back over and over and over again because they think that you are unlike other women, that you are a woman who is in her heart, then you are the common denominator. You have to look at yourself and start to see that you have the power to create this or not create it with men. And once you know how to do it, then the men who can't connect or that you can't connect with, that those guys just can't do it. But we're way too fast to label men as being anxious, avoidant or emotionally unavailable or commitment phobic, when in reality, it's because many, many women today don't know how to bring a man into his heart.
Well, and it's also probably because they don't know how to access their own heart.
Right.
So how's the man supposed to live through the woman's heart, right? If she's not in her heart.
Exactly.
And you see that sometimes in reality TV shows where you just I just dating around. I don't know if you ever watch Dating Around, there was this interesting scene where you could tell she started to just be like, so what do you do for a living, yada yada yada, right? And you could tell how he just switched, and he's just like, okay, this is just a conversation what we're supposed to do. But he was no longer connected. He was no longer, I want to emphasize on what you were describing, right? He was no longer associated. He was just, okay, we're just going to talk about what nobody cares about, but we'll just do it anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's, it's really, this is such an art, Antia. It's such an art to becoming, to having the courage to go deep inside our own selves, to become the women that we really are, and to have the courage to have the faith and the trust in her, to take her out on dates and allow men to see her and to be proud of her and to be okay with getting rejected, knowing that we're amazing, right? That we are extraordinary, and that if a man doesn't want what we have to offer, that's okay. He's not our guy. no matter how fabulous we think he is, but to be in our hearts. And that's the work. I mean, I wish I could tell you in a 30, 45-minute comment, exactly how that's done. But you and I both know that that's the real work that we do with women.
Absolutely. And I know we had our little cliffhanger. So as we're going towards it, we're not quite done, but just, I feel like the women were like, what happened with your client? And what happened with this guy? And what happened? She didn't know, she couldn't read the signs that he was checking in. What ended up happening, Lisa?
So this was amazing. This was really extraordinary. I have to say that this woman, I've coached thousands of women. This woman was, is one of the most beautiful women I've ever coached inside and out. There's something so gracious and charming about her. She is extremely successful in her career. And she really is a one in a million. And we talked, about men and relationships and what she had done and what she could have done differently. And I coached her, and she wound up going back to him. She didn't get back into the story. She didn't get back into the weeds. He reached out to her again for some business thing. And she just wrote back, because I had told her, you have to create an opening. This man is too much of a man. He's too proud. He's too macho. You hurt his pride. That's why he pulled away. And that's why he keeps coming back and testing the waters. And so I said, you've got to create an opening for him and see what he does. And so she wrote to him and she said, I miss my hero.
Aww.
And he wrote back and said, do-over?
He was waiting for it, right?
He was just waiting. I mean, it took, I miss my hero, 4 words to open that door back up enough for him to walk back through it. But as long as she was proud and had those expectations and was listening to her girlfriends, that wasn't going to happen.
The well-meaning girlfriends that just come from their own projections, right?
Yep. And, she was in her head. She wasn't thinking about, how he would have heard what she said to him. So, yeah, it was magical.
Wow.
It was magical. And so, they started up dating again.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, and next time we'll know how that story continued, Wow, that's so
Here's the thing that I think so many women, just to conclude, Antia, we don't realize that we really do have the power to emasculate men and push them away. And we think they're supposed to be so strong and a real man would come back and fight for me. No, he got hurt and he didn't feel safe with her. And so he pulled away. And we have the power to bring back, create safety for men. We can create a space where they can open up to us and share things they've never told another woman when we know how to do this right. So you got to get out of your head and into your heart, right?
Yeah, totally. And what I'm really getting to, Lisa, when I hear you talk is there is this love for men. You know what I mean? Like you have to love, because I think so many women resent men. They don't know it because the mom showed them to resent men or the dad didn't show up. But what I'm really feeling from you is like you love men. That woman learned to love men, right? To say like, I miss my hero. That's like, right? It's like, I love that masculinity. I love that manlyhood. I love that, whatever that yumminess is.
Well, and think about it. We love men who love women. We love that. And men love women who love men. Yeah. I've had so many men say to me, I've never met a woman like you. I've never met a woman as open-minded as you are. I've never met a woman like, where do I find somebody like that? You know, because I get men. I know how they think. I don't expect men, you know, to be women. I don't expect them to navigate the world like the way we do. You know, I have no designs on my husband. If he chooses to be monogamous with me and show up and want to be with me and all, you know, I want that to be a choice he makes every day, not because he owes me something,
Right.
but because I, you know, and I told him, Antia, on our, you know, before we got married, I said, look, my goal is to make your world bigger because I'm in it. I want you to feel less restricted. You know, I want you to feel like more of a man. I want you to have more freedom because I'm in your life, not less freedom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that so much. So ladies, really take that on. I would just like go back and just listen to that again. Maybe take some notes on that, because wow, what would it be like if we were to approach dating like that, right? Like versus thinking about how can I trap him? How can I create more certainty for myself? How can I feel more secure? But actually, um, creating it the way you described it,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Yeah, because you know what? He has nowhere to go. Like, where would he ever find a better deal than this? I know what he's got, Antia. Don't think
I
I
hope
don't
so.
know that for
I
a
hope so.
second. That man he hit the jackpot with me.
Oh, he did. He
I'm
did.
just
Oh,
kidding.
sure. There's no doubt about that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa, for the women who want to have their men feel like they hit the jackpot with them, I know you have a very special gift that's very generous and super informative as well. What is that?
I love that. Super informative.
Well, it
So
is.
it's,
You give a lot of like wisdom away, you know?
yeah. So there is I really put my heart and soul into this 45-minute webinar that I created, or presentation. And it is called The 5 Essential Shifts I've Given I have to read it, my successful female clients to cut through the game, stop settling, and attract the guardian of their soul. And yeah, please go and watch it. Do yourself a favor. It really is wonderful, wonderful. And you will glean a lot of wisdom from it. So yeah, that's my gift.
So for that, ladies, as usual, just go right below this video. I mean, obviously amazing, juicy content that Lisa delivered here. So you can only imagine what's in that presentation. So again, a link is right below this video. Lisa, thank you so much for being here today.
Auntie, I love doing these things with you. This is such a gift to me, honey. Just to hang out with you for a
Yeah,
little while is
it's so,
amazing.
it's so fun, to just
Yeah.
connect and hear all the stories from your clients. And you're the best storyteller anyways, like, but apart from that, and your love continue to blossom with Benjamin and the 3 dogs. Like it's such a delight, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Antia. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. All right, ladies, this is it for today. I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.